All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. My name is Brogan, and today we are back for another simple signal stream. And today, like last stream, I may say, it's going to be a really interesting one, okay? We've actually proper pumped, surpassed what we expected. Finally, looking for good for Bitcoin. 68,852 right now, obviously, on CoinMarketCap. Let me refresh to make sure it's the latest number. Yeah, 68,850, basically. Really good. You can see, like, on the 1 hour, 24 hour, 7 day, it's pretty much all green. It's looking really, really good. Obviously, go into that in a second, as with the charts and all of that jazz, okay? Obviously, as well, I'm going to get into this first, actually. If you've got any coins you want me to cover, put in the chat. Although, I will temper expectations because I do yap a lot. So, it may mean that I spend the entire hour on Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. So, if I am running out of things to talk about and we're, got 10 minutes left, I'll try to look at another coin. If not, it's going to be Bitcoin, mainly Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. Also, consider liking the stream. And while you're down there, and let's say you've been here, a couple streams, or you're just your first stream, and you think, oh, this guy's amazing, his intro is so awesome and brilliant, consider subscribing. Obviously, I wouldn't want a subscriber which wouldn't actually come back ever again. So do make sure you do enjoy the stream before you do any of this. Like the stream, obviously. And while you're down there, description, really useful links down there. Twitter, Telegram mainly. Those two are where it's really at when it comes to, the socials, keeping up with Crypto Warehouse and whatnot, and being part of the community. So do make sure you go join them and follow and whatnot. I think that's pretty much it. I don't think I have anything else to say. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to Kishan in the chat right now. Slow start to the stream, not gonna lie. No one was really here. I think everyone's a bit busy. Obviously, I think everyone's out celebrating, really, because obviously we pumped for Bitcoin. I think everyone's out celebrating or whatever, so I'm gonna leave them to do that thing. Do their thing, whatever. Actually, I'm on Binance tonight because obviously there is a lot of spam, tons of spam. But in the intro, it normally isn't that bad. Okay, so I'm gonna check the chat really quickly on Binance, see what people are saying. People saying hello. Y178, hi, how are you doing today? I'm doing very well, thank you very much. Hopefully you are still here. Hopefully you're doing well as well. So shout out to everyone, man. Honestly, shout out to all you guys. Being here at the start of the stream. You guys are the real ones. Being here when the stream started, okay? So yeah, Danny's here. Shout out to you. Bear Rope. You know what, man? It's nice to see you guys. Anyway, I'm excited. I can't contain myself anymore. Let's get in it. I normally spend like 7 minutes on the intro. It's ridiculous. 3 minutes, done and dusted. Let's get into this, okay? I don't want to waste any more time. All right, I want to get into the numbers quickly, just see the percentages, and I want to get right onto the chart, okay? Because this is what be one of the streams. I do say this in the intro a lot. It's either a stream where we go over previous TA and we see how well it's going, or we've already had our TA and then we're going to do more TA, like coming to the future. And that's one of those days today because we've actually pumped pretty nicely. We are in a good area, okay? That's why, obviously, Thursday I said it on my other stream. Monday time I said, okay, well, I might stream Thursday, Friday, depending on what the market does. I'm glad I waited till Friday, okay? This stream is going to be one of those streams where we actually do new TA. So, if I was you guys, and I wanted to join a stream, it would be one of these streams, okay? When we have actually new fresh TA to look at and, actually go through. So I'm excited. We have some new charts, not new charts, but new price action to go over and see what's going on in the future, okay? We've hit some crucial prices, hit some crucial areas. We're now at a crucial area as well. Whole lot of things going on right now, okay? We're now in a new range, especially for Bitcoin, and obviously Solana's doing its thing, whatever. But for Bitcoin individually, we're now in a new range, okay? We've done our thing we need to do. I believe anyway. I could be completely wrong, obviously, on financial advice. None of us ever financial advice, but we are in a good area. So let's see how it goes. Anyway, whatever. Percentages, 9.5% over 7 day. Pretty nice. 2.8, sorry. I'm reading the last number. 2.8 on 24 hour and 0.36 on a 1 hour for Bitcoin. That's crazy. And nearly 1% for Ethereum. We're pretty, we're moving. We're moving. We are moving. Okay. Ethereum 3%, 24 hour, nearly 9% on 7 day. Pretty similar actually to Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin and Ethereum have been not similar, but slightly similar in the way that they've moved in terms of not the movement they've had over the long period of time, coming back whenever it was, start of the month and so on and so forth. But in terms of this pump we've had, they've been pretty similar straight up. With Solana, it's been a bit different. Obviously, we have pumped pretty well, but you can see 24 hour, 5%, really good. But it's only 6.9, obviously 7%, whatever, on the 7 day. There is a bit of a difference. We have actually been at a bit of resistance for Solana. We'll obviously go over it in a minute, or not in a minute, in a lot of minutes, actually, because I do yap a long time about Bitcoin, especially in this stream, because it's going to be one of the streams where we go over new TA. So Eventually, we will get on Solana and Ethereum. But you know, I do want to go with Solana because it is a bit different from Ethereum and Bitcoin. Bitcoin and Ethereum, because you know they're moving slightly differently. But anyway, doesn't matter. Really good prices. 156 for Solana, 2665 right now for Ethereum, and you know nearing 69k for Bitcoin. Really just brilliant. So far, so good. You know what I'm saying? So far, so good. Let me check the chat though before I move on to the actual charts. Okay, Shan, keeping it down on the chat. Please kindly let spam my friends. It would be nice. Obviously, I can already see the bots in the chat, and you know balances are awful. They're generally awful. Like they just don't bother with the chat. They don't have any. You know, obviously we can automatically go in and you know try and ban each and every one of them, but it's not. The chat is like an abandoned island when it comes to Balance Live. Like genuinely, the chat's awful. Like come on, guys, really? You know, put a bit into it. No, obviously if it's not making the money, fair enough. Whatever. What can you do? Yeah. Anyway, shout out to you guys. Check the YouTube chat real quickly. Let's see what's going on. See who's here. See who's joined the stream. Okay. KV, actually, I've seen you in the chat. Even see you. I do need to talk to you. Actually, I might message you after the stream or tomorrow or something. I'm going to talk to you about the stream. Okay, what we could do collectively. You know, because obviously we haven't actually really done a stream. We've had someone from the community on the stream. I think it'd be really sick to do that. Obviously, you know, you want to come on a stream. I think we should definitely do that. Obviously I do want to do some more things though, including the community. Obviously we do giveaways and whatnot, but it'd be nice to do some more things. We figure, but obviously that's going off on one. Whatever I'm yapping, I will message you. You know, hopefully either after the stream or whatever tomorrow. But even to you as well. Him Jen's here. Is Mike happy now? I think so. I mean, I know he's predicting a lot of different things. I don't know exactly. I don't know what his prices were exactly. Personally, we probably could go over his chart. And see what sort of things he's getting. You know what? We might do that actually. In like, you know, after I've done my Bitcoin TA, go onto his chart, see what shenanigans he's getting into. He's getting into. See what things he's doing. Okay, because obviously we are pretty vastly different in terms of our TA, which is why we think we are good on the channel because obviously we have two different voices. But obviously most channels, obviously apart from some of the big ones that have people, there's normally one person. It's kind of like an echo chamber. They yap about the same thing. But obviously when it comes to our channel, obviously we've got two people. Me and Mike. We do talk about the same things. Different things. We say the same things sometimes, and then we also say different things. So obviously, I think it's pretty crucial when it comes to getting a rounded opinion on something. Anyway, let's go on to the charts. Let's look at Bitcoin. Going pretty nicely right now. Going nicely. Okay, so we have this is the 4 hour general look. See what's going on. Okay, it's looking good. All right, so when we left off, it was Monday. Okay, so it was about here 10 o'clock time. So we were on this candle. Okay, and what did I say? I said we should see support at the area we're in. If we come down to this fair value gap, we could fill it, and it could be a demand area. Lowest case scenario for me was 64k. So that was what I set us up with. You know, when we finished off last stream, that was kind of the key points I left off, or hopefully left off with on Monday, which was we've got this fair value gap, we flipped it, inverted the fair value gap. If we fill this could be great for us to pump upwards. That's one thing I said. Second thing, I think we should hold the 2 rejection block we have. I think it's looking pretty strong. We also have this order block, which we are also holding. We have the order block. So I left it off of that. We have a good, strong support where we are. So even if we didn't pump right away, we should still hold it. And obviously, the last thing was, worst case scenario, if we did flip again the fair value gap, we would come to 64k. However, obviously, the fair value gap is in an appropriate fair value gap area, so it should have got filled appropriately. Lo and behold, it did. But you know what I'm saying. So that's what I left us off with. That's what we talked about. I've got wind as well. I do apologise. Drink some water. I'm happy to sell at least one Bitcoin at 70k. Yeah, I mean, getting pretty close to that. Obviously, we've got the top, the drastic top of the equilibrium we are at right now is 69.5. So obviously, if we can shimmy past, which we'll get onto in a minute, you know, in a minute, obviously, I lie to all you guys every time I say that. In 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it's going to be. But you know, if we can surpass this quickly, then we can definitely easily get, you know, not even there, but onwards and upwards towards where we were previously. But you know what I'm saying. Anyway, let's continue. So that's what I left us off with, was those key points at this, you know, support area and what we had at support. I didn't think we were going to pump straight away, but obviously I think we could continue onwards. And we pretty much did that, you know, obviously the day after, coming into basically the afternoon of the next day. So basically nearly 24 hours. Not really 24 hours, but obviously, you know, kind of. We obviously had this big old candle here, which was very interesting as well, which we tried to pump up, but obviously came back down again. obviously coming to fill this fair value gap here. So this was a kind of like the key sign for us when we were kind of there for Bitcoin before our massive pump all the way up to where we are right now. We filled this fair value gap. So you can see, for me, it was either, okay, with fair value gaps, you either dip into them. Let me change this back to purple, as I always do. So you either like touch them to fill it, because they are ranging areas of inefficiencies. You do normally come to fill them. You can come to the midpoint. There's different areas within fair value gaps. In this case, we basically came to fill the entire thing. Obviously, you can see we're about $50 off the exact bottom. But, you know, in my case and my recommendation, it was to come to 65,120. Obviously, the low we came to was about 64.8 instead. So obviously, you know, a decent move down, you know, 0.5. So, you know, depending on, you know, if you were to take that or not, depending on your leverage and your, you know, risk management and whatnot, it could vary. But we still filled it. It was either to the top, which obviously wasn't going to happen because we already came to the top in this area when we had this little, you know, order block thing going on before we dipped again. So that was kind of a different scenario there. Obviously, lo and behold, we filled this, and then boom, that was our, you know, that was our push, which also was the, you know, second or third thing I said on Monday, which was this fair value gap. Looks like we've inverted it. What normally happens, you invert it, normally come back to it pretty nicely, and then off you go, type of thing. So yeah, we saw the resistance of this order block, came up, and obviously filled this gap, came upwards, bang, finally surpassed this order block. Obviously, this line here, 66.3, was the crucial line. The important part is, in this candle, so if I go to the 15-minute, obviously, these are what I being a bit hypocritical here. I say on the lower time frames, it doesn't really matter. But you can see that we did have this general move down towards this level before we came upwards. But the crucial part about it is, you know, not only do we have that bounce off of this 68 or 66, where is it? 66.3 30 line. We found the majority support even above that, which is even better. You know, not only is it the support at 66.3. We found support at 66.7, nearly 67.750, 730, wherever it is, 725, whatever this exact price is. Actually, I'll probably go find out. Exact price is 66.725. Actually, pretty accurately that, which is quite a nice number. So really good support there, which we found, which is even better for us. You know, finding support even above that. So it seems like we have that crucial area in here. We can see, you know, filling this. Obviously having the bounce off of not only this order block but this area as a whole, you know, only about what $67 off of this bottom here. Obviously the wick coming to as low as 66,174, the midpoint of the order block. So we found support at that order block. We found support near the area of 66,330. Obviously not an exact price, you know, perfectly, but we found support there. Even on the 1 hour, you know, coming to it, bang, and obviously coming up, finding resistance here, coming towards this line above us, and then came up again, finding resistance at the outside of the equilibrium, and then we came all the way down to find support again at 66,725, pretty much confirming it as a good support area. Within that scenario, we did form this order block here, which isn't necessarily in an order block area. Obviously, if we go to the higher range, we could find something else, but it is tapping into that breaker block range, which we also desire, which is obviously you can see it's a negative order block, so it's going to be good, and it is a breaker block in nature, so the ease of flipping it is going to be pretty strong. So the fact that we formed it, flipped it immediately, is pretty strong to us. That is going to be good support. However, we didn't quite come back to it, so this might not be strong support. We might come back for it, but what I do want to check though is if it's anything considerable on the 19863. Yeah, so you can see it's also majoritively in, or you can see a decent proportion of it is also within breaker block area on the higher range upwards, you know, for the higher dealing range. So this is still a good thing. Obviously, we are now coming into the higher range, the higher equilibrium on this. But also, something key to note as well, that, as we know, like I said, you can see if we go to the 6561, you can see that this is the range of equilibrium we have on this lower, this lower range here. But then, obviously, if we go upwards one, you can see the higher range as we have here. And then the range upwards for this, so coming up to, you know, whatever the next range is above 19863, is going to be equilibrium. So not only is that is going to be equilibrium in the midpoint, this is also going to be equilibrium. And what do you notice? You can see this nice bounce, this really nice bounce in this area. So you can see we came up to it, found resistance, find support at this general, you know, nearly a $100 range, about here, $150 range, coming into it and then coming upwards again. So we can see right now we're kind of in the midpoint of this range between this whole area. Oh no, this whole area, sorry. coming to about 68.9 area, which we're finding difficulty at right now. So we're kind of in the midpoint of the midpoint right now. So we're kind of perfectly at the midpoint of the equilibrium, which is quite nice. Let me go back to the lower range, which we are normally on. So here we go. Let's have a look. So if I delete these, you can see we're currently pretty much finding, obviously our candle body is below the midpoint at about 68.9. So if I quickly do this, obviously this is kind of animalistic if I had to do this, but the 0.5, yeah, you can see 68.884, which is nearly 68.9. So you can see the midpoint is about there, which we're having difficulty at. I'm not saying we're going to permanently stay below there, but we're just currently anyway hovering. And you can see the previous candle on the 4 hour had a wick there. You can see, multiple wicks, bang, 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 of quick succession. Obviously now on the 1 hour print, not too long ago, we had a print above 68.880. And you can see the current candle within the 1 hour is kind of hoping to stay above that. Obviously we wicked below, but then came up again. So obviously if you kind of segment each equilibrium, you can see that there's midpoints of equilibrium. So potentially we could be seeing a scenario where we have the midpoint of the equilibrium be a kind of area of support and resistance. So what we could see is 68.880 be a decent area of support if we were to hold it. Obviously I'm kind of yapping there, but basically on the grand scheme of things, it's us trying to get back above this, if not holding 68.3 as support. That's kind of the main gist of what we have going on right now, and what we can need to see going on to, for Bitcoin currently in the next day or 2 or 3, whenever it's going to take. Obviously I don't think we'll crab that long in this area. It might take within the rest of this evening into early into tomorrow. So, it's kind of, we're at a crucial point. I know I said we were at a crucial point, at 65.7. I know I said we're at a crucial point where we're at 66.3. We are also at a crucial point if we are to consider a good area in between 72.170 and where we are right now. It is a decent crucial area. But, considering our pump upwards from 65.6, it's been a really good pump, quite fast, up to this crucial area. So I've not really had a lot of time. If I streamed yesterday, I would have had time to talk about the fact we're at whatever, forming this order block. But regardless, it's been a decently fast move upwards right to this equilibrium. So currently, as I see it, we're finding at this equilibrium. We do have support in this area. Not only do we have, hopefully, hold support at 68.3, which is going to be another good area. Because again, remember, this wider range is also equilibrium on the higher dealing range. So we are in equilibrium right now. If we can hold this and kind of fight in here, if we can get above 69.470, that's going to be really, really crucial in terms of getting back above this. I mean, even on the lower range, even getting above 69 or 69.1 is going to be even more important. Because again, once you're above that, you can then come to 69.5, find support at 69, and then hopefully have a higher low, higher high, where you then get above the entire higher dealing range equilibrium. So then once we've done that, it's pretty much clear line towards 72.174. But yeah, as we see it right now, we're obviously fighting an equilibrium. I wouldn't be surprised if we found resistance here. It would be preferable if we found support at 68.3. But again, remember the low of this kind of movement. You can see the high being obviously if you take it off candle wicks, the high being 68.428. Also, we've done a higher high, so that's good. So it doesn't matter if we come lower because again, we do technically have this breaker block which could hold us support. We haven't really come into it. That's my concerning aspect of it. You can see. Well, to be fair, we formed it. You can see this little wick into here, this bounce, and then we kind of continue onwards. But we didn't really hold support. This isn't really a good, interesting area. There's not really a arbitrary area of support, considerable where we have right now. So we could hold this support, within 67.2 area. So then at that point, it would be another higher low. So it wouldn't really matter to me if we were to come down to this breaker block. I think we could then push upwards again towards equilibrium, higher into 69.2 area, whatever it may be, towards 69.5, the crucial area we need to break above before we see this whole area above in this area coming up towards 72.172, wherever it is. So yeah, I'm looking pretty optimistic. I know we've had optimism for the entire this entire area since about Sunday, as we pumped, found support, pumped again, found support, pumping again. So I know we've been pretty much optimistic like 3 times in a row as we've had this pump, but I definitely can see this surpass towards this area. And again, where was our previous highs? Before we had this dump, it was up towards this area at 70k, and it was at equilibrium. You can see we found resistance on the lower end of equilibrium, came into equilibrium, came down, tried to break, had a big candle through, and then it was over there at that point. So I don't want to have the same scenario where we kind of come up, kind of do a little bar assumption and come down again, and then we dump. I don't want that to happen. So we need to take, I don't mind taking our time. You know, if we can come down towards support and then come up again, if we can find solid ground, whether it be, you know, higher at 68.3 or a bit lower at 67.2, then, you know, I'll be happy in that regard. But in terms of how it's going, let me go on the 1 hour, just see if there's anything interesting to look at. Actually, I want to go to the higher ranges on the 4 hour, like the 5.9, in a really big range. I want to see what's going on wide, like maybe on the daily even. So what is this? So this is the 0.11 on the higher range, finding resistance at this area. Okay, so this is also another line at 69.015, whatever. But the only crucial area above us then from this range is up to here, so it's not really too valid. So I could only really look at this area at the 19863 because we don't have anything valid to look at right now unless we look at bouncing off the lines, which doesn't really matter. Which at that point, again, you can see how well it follows, especially this line is within what we already have driven, or what we already have drawn. So, but then when you go onto the higher time frame of things, onto the daily, it then not only is this what we have right now matters, it also comes into 67, 120, all the way up towards 70,600 or 70,000. Yeah, basically 7,650. So, you know, we do have a lot to consider. Every time we've been up here, we've then had difficulty in these areas. So in terms of holding it, I'd want to hope that we hold it, but you know, I'm not seeing too much hope in terms of, you can see, you know, wick up, down, wick up, down, wick up, down. You know, we've not really held it once. Obviously, October coming to November was, in theory, supposed to be the positive month where we actually do pump and see a really good movement upwards towards, you know, 80k, you know, finalizing at really high points. Obviously, I can hope for that, and I want that, but I do have to be realistic in terms of how much we've gone up and how much we've had in terms of movement, and we haven't really seen too much cool off. In terms of, obviously, you know, we've pumped from equilibrium up to the high dealing range, found support, pumped up to equilibrium, found support at this breaker block area, or potentially hoping for support this breaker block. But I want us to come back to it. So I don't know if we hold right now. I want us to come down, okay? For the greater good, okay? For the greater good of time. I don't think we hold this right now, considering it. I think we have a good, decent area at 66, 67 area. Obviously, again, lower than that would be down here at, you know, 65. But again, we don't want to break lower than 64.8. You know, we don't want to break lower than that, coming towards 64.40. We don't want to break lower than that. So, you know, in terms of coming down, I think, again, this is like, you know, similar to down here, how we had 64. I think the lower end of that would be 66, 150. In terms of, we have great support where we are now. We probably might hold it. But the worst case scenario, if we were to break below and ignore this, it would be 64. So I think that's a very similar scenario to where we are right now. We're considerably high right now. I think 66 down here is going to be good support. You know, we had really, you know, we formed it. We had a great difficulty at it. And then we had a great difficulty again and then flipped it. And then found support when we were on the 1 hour. Remember when we were on the 50-minute and the 1 hour, we saw that really good bounce off of the midpoint and then came upwards. So this is, I think, there's going to be good support at here. Unless we have rapid movement downwards, major sell-off. Again, considering our movement, it does feel a bit overextended. But again, we will see, depending on how strong this support is. We haven't, again, my concern is we haven't really wicked to it. Maybe on this 2 a.m. one, if we go maybe on the lower time frame, form it, 2 a.m. would be here. So actually, to be fair, we have had that bounce. You can see if we draw a circle on this area and go to the 1 hour, this is our form, and then this is our support at it, and this is us bouncing off it and then continuing onwards. So technically on the 1 hour, we have had that bounce. You know, we formed it, flipped it, support came upwards, which on the 1 hour, like I said, is this bounce. So this really accurate bounce at the midpoint, near enough, maybe like $20 off on at 2 a.m. Friday time, whatever it is our, or 2 a.m. today actually, is our bounce on the breaker block. So we could have support here. I want us to have support here. I don't want to rush anything, you know. Considering our TA, I want us to come down towards 67, 150, wherever it may be, all the way up to potentially 67, 600, you know, this support area. I want us to come down to here and then come up again and rush upwards. If we don't have that and we have, you know, overextending towards 69, a bit of hoverage, I definitely could see a big dump back downwards, completely ruining our momentum. What I do want to do, though, is check the chat, because I have seen some chat going on. There's so much confidence around 63.5, 64 that I do believe we will trade back down before the final up to 100k. Weekly, monthly, open. Yeah, I mean, again, I do want to see that move downwards. Obviously, going off of what you in terms of your data points, then if that all concludes into 64k area, then let it be. Obviously, we do have that area down here, but again, I want to see that bounce. I want to see the bounce. Okay, I don't want to be biased in terms of, oh, well, we've pumped up this, which means we are going to stay above. I can never say anything for certain, but in terms of our movement's been pretty extended. Obviously, on my chart, I don't have any data points which displays whether it be overextended or not. However, based on price action and where we are, because if we were doing this movement and we were 69A, I could say, well, we could maybe come towards order block area 70,500, find an order block or form an order block there and then come down for resistance. But we're not there right now. We're not in a good area to be in to have a slowdown. Being at equilibrium, to be in equilibrium and positively go above it, you need to be coming into equilibrium with a great force. But we've already had our, looking at it, we had big pump, come down, decent pump. I mean, obviously comparative to this, how great it is. We can see like the pump is pretty much. Oh, I've just controlled Z and oh no, hold on. There we go. Obviously this is pretty bad TA in terms of, oh well, we've drawn a circle. That means it has to be equal. But looking at it, in terms of the previous pump before we had a decent cool off, it's not getting us above 69,500. So I don't think we have that momentum considering where we've come from. If we came from, if we bounced off 68.3, found good support at 67.7, and then come up again and had a good pump again, then maybe that could allow us to have enough momentum back upwards towards 69.5. But we don't have that. We've already had our extension before contraction. So we've already had our extension coming into 69, 68, 8, wherever we've been. So I don't think we have that momentum to allow us to get back above equilibrium. So I think we are going to come back down. It's just from then on, it's a matter of where. Well, listing off what I have, we have 67.2 or 67.2 and 66.2. Obviously, I know that's a big range, but we have this breaker block which we have found support at. So maybe on a shorter time frame, we could find support here before we come up again towards maybe 68.3 and then come down. We could have something like this where we have this high coming down to here and then this. That could be like a slanted head and shoulders kind of thing going on here. We could have something like that bringing us down towards 65.5 area. But yeah, I mean, looking at it, it's like we have greatness. Like these two bounces, I think 66.2 is going to be a good area of support. Again, looking back on the data, we had 64. I remember me and KB. I remember both of us were talking about how we both had 64 area. I know you said 63.5, and I said yeah, very accurate in terms of 63.6 to the bottom. Obviously, we didn't manage to come there because of this inefficiency. So in terms of looking at it, I think we have a really big, strong area in this 66.2 area. However, again, it is also in all. I don't know if we have it in a breaker block. I don't know if it's a breaker block or not. It technically is a breaker block. It's in breaker block area, so this technically should be a good support area. So I want to see how we hold it. But in terms of your chart, if there's so much confluence in terms of 64, in terms of 64k, then obviously I don't want to ignore that, because again, I do my charts, I do my TA, but I don't think I'm not like egotistical where my method works 100% of the time and I never want to listen to anyone else ever again, because I'm always right and everyone's always wrong, and I get always right. I think the important part is also getting it right majoritively of the time, or getting it more right than you are getting it wrong, or if you get it more wrong than you are right, making sure you have super tight risk management if you do want to trade that strategy. Just saying. But I'm not someone who's like that. So if for example, KB, if you talk about what you use and saying the major confluence is that we have that that we have certain areas at 64k, and then I look at my chart, we do have support areas at 64k, then it could be okay, cool. And then also for me, it's like, okay, positionally, we are in a scenario where I definitely could see a move downwards, and I think we should have a move downwards. So in terms of how I think we should go down, I think you think we should also go down. Your support areas are at 63.5, 64k. Mine are at 66.2, coming up towards, you know, 66.8 area, then obviously it's one of those things where I do want to take what you have on board, because we do have very similar opinions on where we are, if we're going up or going down. So obviously, if the majority of what you look at is pointing towards that area at the bottom, then absolutely I could, you know, lining up on what I have, could definitely see it. I don't want to see it. You know, I don't want to be clouded by ill judgment going, oh, I don't want to see it. I'm going to ignore what you just said because I think I don't want to see it. I just think this is strong. I just think 66.2 is strong. On the higher range, it is a breaker block. You can see we formed it. Resistance, 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 fell down way. Hit it, absolute dump, and then came upwards, bangs, boom. So I think it's going to be good support. I think it's going to be a good area of support, especially since they're looking on the 15-minute. Coming to this order block, it was like this. It was like order block area. It was coming down all this way. Midpoint, bang. It was a straight bounce off midpoint. It was like a really like close bounce, maybe like $20 off, $10 off, bounce off the midpoint of order block. So I do think it's going to be a good support area. So minimum, I could definitely see 66, 150, wherever it is, being support. Obviously, if we look at like price action, it could come down to here before it being something negative. You know, in terms of it being sweet, you can see there's multiple lows over here at 66.8. So it could be a scenario where we come to, you know, sweep it and then come upwards again, and giving us that momentum to come back above this area towards 69,500. But again, to close the case, I definitely think we are going to see a movement downwards. Okay, we do have the breaker block at 67.2 or whatever it is exactly at this midpoint, 67.2. Obviously, it is a big range. To be fair, I will not deny that. But I think a decent concrete area for me before we see movement downwards is going to be this area at 66.2. What I will do though is I'm going to delete this fair value gap because we've already used it. Okay, so we've already filled it. Okay, I kind of want to clean it up a bit. Obviously we have major different areas down here, especially coming to, because we can come to this because now 65.6 is now a low area. You know, it's not higher anymore, it's a low area because we have had this moving upwards. We have surpassed the expansion line and seen support either coming to wick towards expansion line and seeing support at 66.7. So we've got decent support here where we're kind of trying to hold. You know, it's not like some of the scenarios we've seen all the way back here where we've come above expansion, had a bit of a hoverage like that and then come down again. So it's looking good. It's looking like this is different here. You know, this is coming above this area and above expansion. You know, it's not like times we've seen before where we've, you know, like I just said, I'm saying the same thing over again, where we've done that and then come down. You know, that's not a very good movement. It's been normal. You can see, you know, very normal price action. So it's been good. I think we've definitely confirmed ourselves above this range. So then I have to flip my assumption onto the fact that 64.9 is going to be the next area where we're going to have to come below it and, you know, find support, find resistance either at 64.9 or 64.5, coming all the way down potentially towards 63.7, wherever it may be, to then flip that back into this range. Because then, I mean, if we do come to that area and find resistance there, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to see that. But, you know, again, if it's a wick towards 64 and then we have a bit of resistance, you know, off of 64.3 or 64.4 and then coming down and kind of hovering a bit, kind of like this, and we do this, whatever, then I think we can then surpass it all again and continue onwards. So if it is necessary, then we could definitely see that. But obviously looking at these areas, we definitely have what the hell is that? Yeah, we definitely have these areas. I'm going to put it up a bit because it's hard to see from the line. But obviously we do have these lows at these areas. Obviously the major low being here at 64.7. So obviously we've got a massive low there. We've got these pretty much equal lows here at 66.7, wherever it may be. So I definitely think we could see that, you know, a wick to this area and then a candle body print above at 67.2 and then come up again. So I guess we will see. I'm not really positive right now. I'm not saying I'm on the fence. I'm not saying we could go down. I'm negative, but I'm not like, it's over, we're gonna fall all the way down. But I guess I'm gonna keep a close eye on it because things can change because we're in a pretty, you know, shaky area right now. So I do want to keep an eye on it. What I do want to do though, I do want to go onto Mike's chart actually because I know I said that on the stream. I want to see what Mike's looking at. Okay, so obviously if you do watch the streams, you probably know what Mike's looking at. But I want to go onto his chart and just see what he's looking at. So let's have a look. Okay, so he's on the daily. He's looking at the moon phases and he's looking at bull market support band. Okay, so where are his support areas? well, he's going to have 62,519 towards 61,437. However, again, also considering, this is weekly based, so this will print in the next 2 days. This could go upwards a bit towards 63, 64 area. So that is also bull market support, man. Obviously, I know, as he always talks about, if you stray too far away from it, you normally want to come back to it. So that, if it does start to arc up a bit, comes towards 63k. So he could have 63k. I'm not too sure. Obviously, you have to ask him. I would suspect this in terms of the RSI coming towards the area where it's considerably high, looking for a moving downwards to kind of even out. That makes sense considering where we are right now and what makes sense to me. Obviously, on the grand scheme of things, if you are to follow this bull flag, we are at a position where we should see a bounce downwards again, coming towards wherever it may be down here. So we're in a considerable area. Can we break above this equilibrium? Again, I'm not too sure. I don't really think we can see it right now. I don't think we have that steam. I want to see if we hold these support areas. Again, I want to see the validity of them, because again, I'm not too sure on this, or I'm not too confident in this breaker block. I'm not too sure, because again, we saw on the 1 hour and the 4 hour where it is formed. We didn't really see that bounce. Obviously, on the 1 hour, we saw the bounce. We saw that accurate bounce on the midpoint and then move upwards. So technically, on the 1 hour, we have seen a really good confirmation that the breaker block is valid. But on the 4 hour where the breaker block is actually formed, or the order block in this case, it's not really shown a good comeback to it to test it as support. So I'm not too sure of it. But again, we have seen 12 16 hours in terms of candles worth of equal lows in this 72 or 67 200 area. So I'm expecting to at least come down to that area to see if we can sweep it, hold support, break a block, and come upwards again. Obviously, we'll have to watch it. But we are also coming into, based on the moon phases, we are also coming into a new area. I think these grey ones are positive. I don't know, though. Again, I'm not someone who follows the moon chart. You have to ask Mike. Obviously, he's got the volume as well. I mean, this is also something a bit concerning if you look at the volume. You've got descending volume, but increasing price. I think based on volume price analysis, I think that is something which is kind of an anomaly when you have decreasing volume but increasing price. I'm not too sure. I can't remember. I'm not someone who really looks at that. I swear, where's his lines? Unless I think I'm on the wrong thing, actually, aren't I? I'm on the wrong thing, aren't I? Oh, that was horrible. So he's got a line at 68,268 to look at these highs back in July time, and to see this bounce coming into basically the May time. So if we can surpass this, obviously the daily print is very vital. Obviously, you said daily close is important. Very true. If we can close within 68.2, so his line is 68.268. Mine was what, 68? What's my line again? I've forgotten. So my line was 68.3. Yeah, so basically very similar. Me and Mike have very similar lines in terms of the bottom of where we could see that bounce. So I agree. If we can print within this area, I'll be very happy. Because then that shows sign that we're actually truly in equilibrium now. Because then that's a whole. Because I've said this on last stream before, I think, or one of those streams. Is when you're in these areas, obviously the discount, the premium on their own kettle of fish. Equilibrium is, you see a lot of times, like on different charts, a load of charts, like not only just Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever, is you'll see us do our thing in discount, come into equilibrium, and then once we start printing equilibrium, we then have this little fight within it, and then it either results in us going up or going down. So we're coming into these crucial areas in between 69.5 and 68.3. These are going to be big areas where we're going to see different price action. Not saying crazy price action, not saying timid price action, but different is when you have these interesting areas. So yeah, obviously again on Bitcoin you can see on these different areas, not necessarily, and again it doesn't happen all the time because there's definitely tons of situations where we just surpass equilibrium and then come down to find its support and then move on, or we come into it, hover above it, and then just dump all the way back down because we haven't found support here. Because again, very crucially, we need to find support, or in a different case, we need to find resistance at these areas to confirm them. So, printing into it's going to be one thing, but I think we need to get above that 69.5, let alone getting above 68, or 68, what was it again? It was 68, 69.9, whatever it was. Oh no, I think it was like 69.1 or 2, whatever it is exactly. I can't remember. But whatever that top line is on the low range, we need to get above that. I'm not on the right chart. Okay, let's see his line. So what's he got? So he's got this range. Oh, so he's got it drawn different. Oh yeah, because he's got it drawn differently. To be fair, so actually his range looks really nice. I think on OKX and Binance I think the candles are a bit different. So his range is actually a bit nicer in terms of the highs. You can see the really good highs here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Really good highs. And we're actually surpassing it now. Obviously, we can wick above. I'm not saying we can't. You can see, 6th of June, we can see these wicks above. But we're considerably surpassing these lines. Obviously, on the lows, it's like different. You could probably shimmy this down. I'm not going to ruin this chart. You could probably shimmy this down. Again, I'm not going to mess with this chart. But you can see within his bull flag, which is actually drawn a lot better than my one, which was, back whenever I had it drawn, is actually surpassing it decently. And the support at this area will be 68, 67.9, wherever it is. So decent, very decent. Again, daily print, crucial. This is where the bull flag's formed. This is where the majority of the high-end TA is. And again, remember, where does my 59049 range, whatever it's called, the weekly, the one I use on the weekly, where does that take us? We have very crucial TA, especially on the weekly. The weekly is very important in terms of these ranges because, we come up to 90k, we come back down towards 58k, come back up to 100, 104k, come back down to 90k, or 120k, I think it is, to 90k. So those are crucial ranges, which I definitely think we've already seen our wick down. Again, this area, wherever it was down here, that was our wick down to the inefficiency we had on the weekly. So we had an inefficiency on the weekly or the monthly, whenever it was, which we filled within one of these wicks downwards. And then we've come up again. So if you've been on these streams, you'll know what I'm talking about. Coming down to this area to find this, good area of demand, whatever, coming into it to reverse our price higher. It was a surpass below our support, which was like 58k or 53k, whichever it was, which then allowed us to fill this area, which I expect to result in us pumping to the next range upward, which, if you remember, is 90k. And I've gone on to the different ranges, which has 90k at equilibrium. So I definitely think our resultant, however we may get there, as I've said before, I think our resultant is definitely going to be coming towards 90k to find a top hat, however long that may take, towards November, coming into maybe next year, whenever it's going to be. End of this year, whatever. However long it takes. Maybe towards the end. Obviously, we've got Santa Rally. End of this year, probably, coming towards that area. Anyway, obviously, in his chart, it looks like we have surpassing this bull flag. And I always talk about this again on chart patterns. This happens a lot of the time. Is you surpass the resistance or the top line, and then you come back down to bounce off it, and then you pump. So we could have a scenario, maybe if you don't look at the daily, look at the 4 hour, which actually has a really nice bounce off of this line at 67.9. Really nice bounce coming upwards, maybe coming back down towards 67.8. And remember, where was my support at that breaker block? It was within 67.8 towards 67.2. So very similar in this range. You can see, like, if we go back to my chart really quickly, I'd go to the bottom. You can see, okay, maybe it's not exactly, but you can see the top of it's about 676. So 676. If you shimmy along, you can see 677. It's not quite there, actually, to be fair. It's not exactly. But again, it could be a wick. Again, this is one of those things. It could be a wick at this area. So, within this area, you can see, obviously, depending on how many candles this takes to happen, if we start to come towards 69.5, find resistance, come back down towards this area, it could result in an area which comes towards 67.6. So, I would say mine and Mike's chart are quite similar in terms of what we have. Again, I'm assuming what he's talked about, if we do talk about that, bounce off of the trend line. Again, it doesn't matter. It does depend. So it does seem like we have roughly similar TA in terms of how it may result for Bitcoin. Not saying it's perfect. Not saying, since me and Mike are saying the same thing, it's going to happen like gospel. But I'm just saying, it seems like, obviously, me and Mike do vastly different methods of TA. So when it starts to result in that way, and again, this bull flag, I'm pretty sure, like, the majority of everyone has this bull flag. So, I don't think it's anything out of the ordinary to have it. I don't have it. I just have these ranges and these different things drawn. So, yeah. Let's see. Anyway, I'm going to move back on to something else. I'm going to move to Ethereum now, because we have 15 minutes till 10 o'clock. So let's move on to Ethereum, where we have our TA. So, what do we have? When did we last look? We looked at Monday, which was our surpass of this fair value gap, which then allowed us to come into it and then allowed us to pump and continuously pump. This is a crazy candle. I think Bitcoin had the same candle. I think Solana had a similar candle. Actually, I'm gonna read the balance chat because I haven't done that yet. Get some water. We live cash on the OG. Yeah, you know, you already know. Kishan, there go. Some guys said, please surprise me. I'm not giving you money. Thank you. Someone said oi at me. Okay. Someone said, so when can we short? Well, that's the thing. Based on what I have, I don't know how long that chat was. I don't know if you're still here. ECH7. I don't know if you, the Binance person. When can we short? Well, I think we're in a good position to maybe see that. I mean, we are in the middle of the equilibrium now. We may go a tiny bit higher. Again, it is kind of like, you know, apples and oranges, whatever you want to say. In these tiny little areas. Again, the top of it is 695. I don't think we come to there. So in terms of where we are at 68.8, I think the top of it is coming towards 69.1 in terms of where we are right now. I definitely think we need that retracement. So in terms of when we can short, I think very soon could be a possibility. Maybe even like within this evening towards early tomorrow. Again, I'm on UTC +2, so I don't know exactly when your time frame suggests it. But coming into it, I think it's definitely very soon. I can't give you a pinpoint hour. I can't really say that. I definitely think we are going to see that short. So above 69k. Yeah, I mean, I think coming towards 68.9, that sort of area, which we've already seen, I think we are seeing our highs. And again, if I go back to Bitcoin quickly, I don't think we're going to see 69.5, personally. Maybe wrong. Again, none of it's financial advice. I do want to preface that. Because see right now it's 68.65. We're kind of retracing a bit. Obviously, our top was basically 69. So I think 69, I think the top of that maximum, if we do come back up again, is basically 69.1, 69.087. You can see on the screen, hopefully, top, whatever it is over there. Obviously, right now we're seeing this movement downwards. You can see this wick on 68.9 cooling down. You can see white candle, black, obviously red, negative candle, positive, negative. So having that bit of retracement, I think we're coming down. I don't know if this is our downwards movement now. It may very well be. Also, I don't want to rush anything. But you can see we've had like multiple hours, 5 hours basically, of being in this equilibrium, having difficulty. So I definitely think within the next hour to even within this hour, again, our hour is going to print very soon. So we could have another positive candle after this. So I think within the next hour, 2 or 3, if I am looking at this on the short term, we could see this negativity. In terms of where we could come to, it's either going to be the bottom of this equilibrium to hold, or it's going to be coming towards this breaker block down to here towards, 67.5 area. Which could allow for, a nearly 1.5% move downwards. I definitely think we are going to have that 1.5% move downwards. Similar with, so not sure at this moment. I think very soon. Okay, again, I don't have an exact hour for you. I don't have an exact minute. I think very soon. Okay, whether that mean this evening, it could very well be. I'm negative right now. I think over this period, I don't know when the exact entry is going to be. Again, I don't have a complete setup for this. We're in equilibrium. I don't have a complete setup. But currently, looking at the TA, as it resolves over the next day or two or evening, whenever it's going to be coming towards this area, I'm negative. In terms of short, I mean, again, it depends on what leverage you do. If you do use leverage, it depends on what your method is. But if you were to short with a lenient way where you could come back upwards towards 69, then it would result in a movement down towards either 1.5% to 2%. So if you were to do like a lenient short, then you could probably negate any chance it would allow for you to come back up towards 69k. I don't think we're going higher than 69.1 or 69.087. I don't think we're going higher than that. I think where we were then at 69 was our decent high then. Again, I want to see what happens in 10 minutes. But I do think we are seeing that retracement. So, what you could wait for is it coming towards, 68.3, coming back up towards 68.7, and then coming down again. You could short from there, allowing for that movement downwards. But if you see it go back towards 69, I would then probably short, personally, not financial advice. Again, do bear that in mind, crucially, because, again, I don't want anyone shouting at me going, oh, you're wrong. Because, yeah, I can be wrong, okay? Some days, the TA is just not there. Some days, it's perfect, okay? There's some streams, like last stream, for example, when I was talking about the fair value gap and the order block and the support, it was pretty perfect. I'm not saying it was perfect. I'm not saying it was spot on. But what I said would happen pretty much happened. you know, we came to the fair value gap. We then filled it. We then surpassed the 0.11. We then came down to that area for support at the order block, and then we continued onwards, which is basically what I said last stream, the stream before. So, again, it varies. Not financial advice. I think if we come back up into this area, we're seeing a bit of movement. I'm not saying it's gospel. We're not coming down right now. But I think where we are right now is a decent high. I don't think we have that momentum right now to allow us to go back up above 695. I don't think we have that right now, personally. I think we are going to come down. Again, to confluence myself with what Mike has, the bounce would suggest about 67.6 area, which is basically the top of this breaker block. So I think we could wick towards 67.6, lowest potential 67.2, because again, a lot of my TA is actually quite close to maybe $20 off. There's been a ton of times when I've done TA and I've gone to check it, and it's been off by like $20, $30. So it could come to the midpoint, which is 672 then. So you could have, as a most, it could be about 2%, which is still good. I mean, again, that's a good profit. Again, it's if you want to trade or not. But yeah, that's my opinion. So yeah. Yeah, let's go back to Ethereum now though, because I do want to see. Again, I normally go on Ethereum and Solana quite quickly. I normally spend the majority of my time on Bitcoin. I mean, it gives a good rounded kind of view on what the market's doing and whatnot, and what we're doing currently. So, whatever. So, what did I say for Ethereum? I said we were probably going to... It looked like... So, okay, let's try and remember what I said on Monday. We flipped the fair value gap. It looks like we might come back into it to use it as a demand area and then continue onwards. But we do have resistance above us, which I could see difficulty at. What's happened? We flipped the fair value gap. We filled it. Okay, how much are we off by? How much is the fill by? It is off by about $5. So we filled it with $5 leniency, aka pretty much coming towards the midpoint of this equilibrium. Pretty good there. So obviously filled it, found resistance at the resistance I said we're going to find resistance at, came down to fair value gap, filled it bar $5, and then we proceeded onwards, found support at midpoint of this, or the top of this rejection block. And again, remember, not only do we have this fair value gap, we do have this rejection block as support, which has this. We also have a line back here, which we found support at. But anyway, you can see, obviously, we filled it, came up. Obviously, we then came back into this area, finding support. So if I delete this fair value gap, as I did with Bitcoin, you can see, it's a lot easier to see now. Obviously, filled it, boom, found resistance at equilibrium, or this order block, sorry. Found support, rejection block, and now we're coming back into this equilibrium, or this order block, sorry, which is also a major. I've had one of these moments where everything just disappears. We are a major order block. I can't remember what time frame is on. I think it's like a 1 hour. Is it 1 hour? Or is it a 4 hour? 4 hour order block, which is a majority of it in breaker block. So again, remember, I said this last stream as well. When I looked at this, I said this is breaker block. We've already found resistance here. I reckon. I think I said something along the lines of, we've already found resistance here. I reckon we could find resistance once or twice more and then flip it. Let's compare what situation we are in for Ethereum with Bitcoin. Bitcoin, we're at equilibrium. I think we're pretty much at our high. Where are we for Ethereum? We are in this order block, getting ready. So what can I see happen? Again, I've said this before. Bitcoin versus Ethereum and Solana are very different. We have pretty different, and I said this 3 streams in a row. I've said, and this is why I looking at CoinMarketCap, because again, not every coin is going to follow percentage-wise perfectly. But what I'd like to look at is to see how relatively similar Ethereum, Solana, and Bitcoin are when it comes to their difference in percentage. So, for example, when we look at the 24-hour, I like to see. So, for example, let's say Solana, the 24-hour and the 7-day might have very similar percentages, and then Ethereum might have the 24-hour and the 7-day percentages also be very similar. But then you look at Bitcoin, and then on the 7-day, it's like 10%, 9% up. On the 24-hour, it's only like a small percentage up. And I've said 3 streams in a row now. How many streams? I've said it's because of the situation we're in. So for Bitcoin, we're trying to flip that dealing range. So for example, like I said, 65.6 was the high of the previous range we're in. We've now obviously surpassed 66.3, found support. Obviously, we've now flipped that dealing range. So now the next issue is going to be trying to get below or trying to stay above 65.6 and staying, as a key price above, I think it was 64.8, which is the expansion range downwards. So again, we're in a whole new situation for Bitcoin, but with Ethereum and Solana, it was getting above equilibrium. So for Solana, we were already above equilibrium, finding difficulty. And with Ethereum, we now just surpassed equilibrium. So as I said in the intro, if you were here for the intro, I said I know why Solana has very similar percentages between the 7-day and the 24-hour. And I said I'll get onto it in due course because of the fact that Solana was already above equilibrium, which allowed it to move stronger comparatively on the 7-day than Ethereum and Bitcoin. But on the 24-hour, it's not as different, if you know what I'm saying. I've yapped. That was a whole lot of yap. I do apologize. Give me a pick for a long-term hold. Obviously, I will say Bitcoin. So, yeah, I can't not say that. Long-term hold. I mean, I think Dupe's going to be pretty good. I know there's an airdrop coming in. There's been some big predictions for Dupe. There's been some big predictions for Dupe. I don't know what prices that everyone's saying. There's been some massive prices. It's ranged so massively. So Dupe, if you're not already in it, I think Dupe's a really good. I think Dupe's a really good option if you do want to get into that. I mean, it depends on what you like to trade it. Obviously, meme coins are never going to be a long-term hold. Cheaper coin. Is that in terms of asking about Dupe or if you want a different coin? I think Mu's great if you want to get in a meme coin, which could move pretty solidly. Obviously, I'm not biased, but we do have a sponsorship with Mu. Wolf is going to be pretty good. We are doing some streams on that. So we've got Wolf, or Moon, I should probably say. I actually did a video. I think it's on Twitter. Yeah, Bitcoin also sense. That's very true. If you go, obviously not right now, obviously you're on the stream. If you want to go to the description, we have the Telegram, the Twitter down there. I did a TA video on Moon, which is Wolfsop, sphere. So if you do want to go check that out, I did a TA video on that. What I would recommend though, we do giveaways on the channel. We're doing one pretty soon for Wolf and Mew for Halloween. So if you have a YouTube channel, I would recommend. I'm not trying to force you into going to YouTube. I'd recommend obviously going to Telegram if you are already in it. But I'd also recommend subscribing to the YouTube channel because we are doing a giveaway. We do giveaways on the stream. So if you wanna get involved with one of these Mew or Wolf coins, as I'm talking about, I would recommend going over to our YouTube channel and subscribing because we are doing a giveaway where you can enter and you can get free coins if you obviously win the wheel. So if you don't want to, obviously, if you don't want to get a part of these Mew and Wolf, you want to hold them, you want to see if you want to get involved in these meme coins, which we are sponsored by, then obviously I would recommend going to YouTube. Which shout out to Kishan. I don't know if he's just sent the YouTube channel or not. So let me check it actually. Yeah, so that's the stream. So yeah, thank you. Shout out to you, Kishan. That link in the chat is our YouTube channel, or that's the current stream we're on right now. So do go check it out. Obviously not trying to be biased. So yeah, that's what I'll say. It's Crypto Warehouse. So same thing. Kishan, if you scroll 2 messages up, it might be there. I'm not sure. There's a YouTube link. That's our stream right now. But if you don't, go on Google, Crypto Warehouse. Same as this name, but with a space between Crypto and Warehouse. Go to Google. It should be one of the first links there. It should be a YouTube channel. That's our YouTube channel. Very soon we are doing a giveaway for Mew and Wolf. So do get involved. Also, I would recommend if you have Telegram, join Telegram. Obviously, I'm not trying to get you involved in like different links, but the Telegram does have information. We do post information about our streams. We do post notifications. So if you do want to get involved with different giveaways and this, that, the other, and other coins, because there's obviously KB. Shout out to KB. He's in the YouTube chat right now. He does charts as well on our Telegram. So yeah, if you do want to talk to people in the community and whatnot, and look at different charts and look at when we do giveaways, I would recommend joining Telegram. That's for everyone. That's not just for you. That's for everyone as well. If you do want to get involved in the channel and giveaways and whatnot, I would recommend subscribing to the YouTube channel because that's where we will do all the giveaways. Because the Binance, we do it on Binance though, to be fair, but we do urge people to go to YouTube so we can get your guys' names so we can put it down for the wheel. Because we do a little wheel spin. So I would recommend that. Obviously, not forcing anybody. Anyway, I'm going to carry on with this. So last thing I said, what was the last thing I said? I don't know what the last thing I said was. Yeah, exactly. Just so I can Google exactly. Someone say QP smile. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's very nice. Anyway, I don't know what the last thing I said was, but what I will do. This is breaker block. Let's just carry on. So, like I said, this is a breaker block, which again, if you don't know what that means, is basically an order block which gets flipped to the opposite. If you go to this said order block, it is negative. So basically, the way this normally always works is you have your order block. which is this big area of resistance. You're having huge difficulty. But since this is in breaker block area, what that means is a breaker block is a flipped order block where it surpasses it and it comes back to use its support, and then so on and so forth. So that's what I reckon is going to happen very soon for Ethereum. But again, remember what's going on with Bitcoin, what's going on with the potential market is that we are going to have our regression, coming back down basically towards lower prices. So I think in Ethereum's case, it could be coming towards equilibrium rejection block area, which is basically coming towards 2,550 area in equilibrium, somewhere around that range. And again, remember, on the wider aspects of things, not only are the red lines equilibrium, but the lines outside of it. So 2,600 is going to be massive support. I said that last stream as well. 2,600 are going to be good support. And what do we see? We see our surpass, test, fill of the fair value gap, test off the rejection block, come up, support, flip below, but guess what? We came right back up. So I think 2,600 is going to be good support. I'm not saying it's going to be super strong. So very similar to how Bitcoin has 67.2 or 67.5. This is a very close by support area, which is going to be the equilibrium. Obviously, again, like I said, Bitcoin versus Ethereum and Solana are in very different scenarios. But relatively, we do have a very nearby support point. And again, remember, we are also technically in breaker block area. Because again, this is where mitigation, this is breaker block. So technically, on the lower end of things, these are going to be good breaker blocks here. So I could probably draw these now, actually. So you can see here, this is going to be a good breaker block. So if we zoom in, you can see, formed the breaker block, came up, support, came up. So look, on the 4 hour, negative order block, formed it, flipped it, support, came up. So we've already flipped it as a breaker block, and we've already confirmed it. So actually, it's pretty much exactly similar to Bitcoin. So you know how Bitcoin had that 72.5 breaker block? This is exactly the same. This is the breaker block we have, very similar to Bitcoin. So we do have support at 2,613, coming towards 2,606. So we do have support. So we've got relatively close support, which we may hold. So very similar. We could have that bounce. A very similar regression, as Bitcoin has 1.5% to 2%, I reckon. I think we can have a very similar one here. You can see 1.5% coming towards 2,608. Is it a high? Potentially. You see, we came into it, bounced right back down. We're coming into it again. We're starting to retrace a bit. So we could see a bit higher. We could come to midpoint. We could come to 2,690. So we might see a bit more movement for Ethereum. Unlike Bitcoin. I'm just looking quickly, actually. Do we have another breaker block? You can see we have this area here. And you can see resistance at top, and then flipped it to try and use a support. So we might actually have a closer breaker block there on the 1 hour. So we might have even closer support. I think we could go higher. Considering how close this is also is in terms of this breaker block, we could come down again. Actually, to be fair, this looks like a breaker block as well. This whole big area. Actually, I'm going to shimmy it back again. Actually, I don't like that. I'm just drawing the breaker block again. There we go. So going back to the 1 hour. Okay, so we do have good support at both this major breaker block on the 4 hour and a 1 hour breaker block on the 2,634. So I definitely think we could maybe see retracement towards 2,642 area as a support off of this breaker block, and then movement back upwards again towards this high area. But again, considering what the market's doing, if we can see this retracement now, then we may see retracement for Ethereum as well, coming back towards a potential of 2,550 towards 2,575 for the rejection block and the equilibrium we have. So I do expect over the longer period, whether it be right now or in a minute, let's say we do come to this midpoint. Let's say this high was it. Actually, let's say this was the high before we come to 2,550. We could see this 4.6% move down. If it was a short right now and hold it, obviously you'd want a lenient risk. You want a lenient stop loss towards this high up here, coming towards I reckon about 2,550, which would give you about 3.7 retracement and a stop loss up here, which is give you a 2 risk reward ratio. So I reckon something like this could happen. And again, it's not financial advice. The markets, as we see right now, can turn pretty fast. And remember, for example, on the 1 hour, look at how massive this, look at how quickly the market's turned. All of a sudden, we came all the way upwards, bang, all the way back downwards. So massive movement. So we can have these movements, which can stop people out. So do be careful whenever you trade. but you know what I'm saying. So we could have this retracement back down, as I see with Bitcoin and whatnot. Let's go on Solana for the last couple of minutes, really quickly. This is a bit of a different scenario. We are at resistance. Let me check the chat actually on Binance quickly. I'll check the YouTube chat as well. I do see some messages. I don't see there's that much actually going on. Yeah, so the YouTube channel, Crypto Warehouse, get involved. Anyway, I don't know. Is this a? We just have resistance there, which is just there. Yeah, so we have resistance at this purple one, which obviously, lo and behold, I think on a higher dealing range, this is just an order block, which we have as resistance. Actually, let me check. I don't want to be wrong on this. Oops. Yeah, so you can see, this is where rejection blocks form. This whole area is where order blocks form. So this whole area, whenever there's going to be an order block, it's not going to be a breaker block. Again, I'm not saying we can't flip it, but they're going to be harder to flip, and they're not going to be used as support as much. So let me just go back to the lower range and go back to the 1 hour, so we can see what's going on. So you can see form the resistance. Obviously had the wicks similar to everything else, but again you can see resistance, or resistance here, came down again to the equilibrium where we came back up again, resistance here. So a good deal of resistance. Also, this is also an order block. This green one's gonna be a breaker block though, because I make them green. So you can see resistance, but flipped it, found support. So we do have support at 153. We also have support 152. So we've got decent support where we are below us. But again, this purple one's great resistance. So like I said, how Solana was dissimilar from Ethereum and Bitcoin is because of this scenario where we have this orange one is an order block. This purple one's also an order block. It's a bit similar, whatever. These are going to be massive resistance areas, which are going to be pretty difficult for us. Also, this one, which actually formed pretty lately, which I've just seen now. This is also going to be decent resistance, as you can see. If we go to make this orange as well, or yellow even, we can see. You can see this wick to it. You know, if it goes 15-minute or whatever, you can see a good order block here. You can see we came up to it, resistance at this line exactly, and then came right back down. So we've got decent resistance where we are for Solana. So in terms of how I think, you know, Ethereum and Bitcoin are both going to have retracements and fall downwards, I think the exact same thing for Solana. However, we do have a scenario where I said this on Monday as well, we could start to form a bit of a bull flag for Solana, which obviously if we take it from this pump upwards to here, would bring us upwards to about the rejection block area. So I definitely think, similar with the market, I think we're having our retracement definitely back down towards $148. You can see, you know, having this movement in this block, I definitely think could come to 148. But similar to how I think Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to have these retracements before we pump up again. You can see we've had, you know, this would be our third bounce, and normally within you don't normally have like 10 bounces in a breakup in a bull flag. Sorry, you know, with Bitcoin's bull flag, I think we've had 3 or 4 or 5 bounces. Obviously, I'm not saying we can't have that, but I think, especially we're on the 4 hour, I think we're only gonna have, you know, 3 or 4 bounces. I think we could have this bounce and have our movement upwards. But again, remember, this will go from over here, which will actually bring us nearing the mid of this rejection block. So I definitely think 160 is going to be big resistance. Okay, obviously on the long period of time, we are going to be seeing higher and higher all the way up towards these areas. But I think 160 is going to be massive resistance. I definitely think we're going to see another retracement back towards $148 for Solana. And yeah, I think we're going to retrace again. I think across the board we're coming down in the market. Not again, I don't think it's going to be too crazy. I think across the board we're going to be retracing and finding support at different areas. But I think that's about it for the stream. So thank you, all of you, each and every one of you, for joining the stream. I really do appreciate it. And again, to reiterate, I know for the ECH6, I think your name was, or I can't remember. It was a couple letters. Yeah, ECH7 actually, not ECH6. Again, Chris Warehouse on Google. That's our channel. I don't know if you're subscribed or not sure. What I would recommend though is, our YouTube channel is in the description. I didn't know that. That's brilliant. So if you're on Binance and you do want to get involved in giveaways or anything else, or want to comment, or come to the Telegram as well, go to the description of where you are on Binance. Links down there. All of them are useful. If they weren't down there, they wouldn't be useful. All of you on YouTube, you know who you are. Absolute ghosts, as always. You know what I'm saying. KB, I'm going to talk to you very soon about getting a stream on with you because this is going to be groundbreaking for Crypto Warehouse. Okay, this is going to be some like getting out the Bronze Age type stuff. Okay, because this is one of the first times I think we're going to probably going to have a community member on the stream, which should be amazing. obviously you've got your own very intricate method of TA. And I'm really interested to see. Obviously, I haven't sent you any messages, but I obviously want to do some TA stream review. Obviously, go over your charts and whatnot, and it'd be really nice to see your explanations of things. Because obviously, you do post charts all the time, which we obviously always appreciate at Crypto Warehouse. We love you for it. But obviously, you do post your paragraphs of analysis, which also include a lot of three character analogies or whatever the hell you call it. I can't remember the word. Still can't remember the word. A week later or 5 days later. So I would love to go over all your, obviously not, if you got secrets, obviously everyone has secrets, you know what I'm saying? But, it'd be great to go over it. Would really appreciate it. Can't wait. Yeah, explain it all exactly. Because obviously, we've talked before. You are someone who's spent quite a lot of time on the market. So again, any insight is going to be great insight again. Because again, there's methods across the board. And I do want to see yours. Because again, your charts look nice. I want to see a method, okay? And obviously everyone does, okay? The actual, it's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like writing in, like, it's like looking at someone who's writing like a commandment when you post your charts, okay? I think for the community, it's gonna be great to see your TA. Can't wait for that. Gonna message you. Shout out to all of you, Mags. Shout out to you, Pharaoh, Kishan, the goats, all the common ones in the chat as well. Danny's here. Danny was here as well. Shout out to you, Danny. I don't think Pretty, who won the wallet, I don't know if she's responded. So I think we're gonna do another stream and re-give it away. But Mike's done a poll on the members area asking, should we do a members only stream to do the giveaway? Which I think is a bit biased, in my personal opinion, asking the members area if we should do a members only stream. Again, if it's members only, whatever. We're gonna be giving away that wallet, even though we never gave it away in the first place. We're gonna be giving it away again. So all the community members who are part of the channel, the memberships, you're gonna get another opportunity to get the wallet. So I'm excited for that. I don't know when we're doing it. I actually don't know, but we're gonna be doing that. And coming up on the calendar, we do have the Halloween streams where we will be dressing up. One of the streams I'm gonna be Zoolander, and I think Mike's gonna be the other guy. I don't know when that's happening. I don't think that's for Halloween. I think that's coming in November time. So don't know when that's gonna happen. I don't know what we're gonna be for Halloween. I think we're gonna get some wolf masks, obviously wolf and Mew and whatnot. I want to get a Michael Myers costume, but we will see. We will see. I'm excited for it. Hope you guys are too. Can't wait to see you guys next time, which is going to be Monday, probably 21st. Keep you guys updated. See you guys on Telegram. Shout out to you all. Love you all. Appreciate it. See you all, guys. See you all Monday. I'm trying to think of anything else to say. I don't think I've got anything else to say. I don't think I have anything else to announce. See you all Monday. Shout out to you all. Love you guys. Goodbye.